Hello, everyone. We're really happy to see you here at TDX. I know it's day one. Hopefully, everyone had some lunch already and tea or coffee. I know it's the afternoon slump, but I'm really excited. So I guess we all know that AI is as good as the data you feed it. But what if the data is actually not even in Salesforce? So today, I'm going to show you how to bridge that gap and how we can use external data into prompt builder workflows to make Agentforce more accurate and helpful for your end users and customers. Of course, a little reminder, a forward-looking statement, so please make any purchasing decisions only on products that are currently available, because we will be discussing some roadmap items. And of course, thank you for being here. We really appreciate your curiosity, innovation, and feedback. And this is what drives us here at Salesforce. So now, to officially introduce myself, my name is Detalina. I'm a product management director here at Salesforce. I'm actually coming all the way from the UK, so a bit of a jet lag. And this is my first TDX, so I'm really excited to share this content with you. So the agenda. First, I'm going to ground us a bit with what Salesforce Connect is, for those of you that may be new to it or never used it. Then we're going to look at the available adapters that comes with Salesforce Connect and what they're good for. Then we're going to dive into the core of how to use external objects in Prompt Builder. And we're going to see everything come together in a demo. I like living on the edge, so I'm going to attempt a live demo for you, but we'll see. And then we're going to end up with our future roadmap. And I will share some resources at the end for you. So with Salesforce Connect, we solve the problem of legacy integration, or the pain of legacy integration. We all know ETL can be very costly and very difficult to do, frankly. And when you have key user data or customer data trapped in external systems like Snowflake or even SAP, you have your service agents or sales reps constantly do the tab switching game, like switching between Salesforce, switching between Snowflake. And frankly, it really delays the business. And at the end, you end up with an incomplete view of your customers. So with Salesforce Connect, we give you virtual access to the data, which means we don't sync, we don't copy, we don't store any of this data in Salesforce, means it doesn't take any space. We simply reference that data in Salesforce. So for you, you can actually treat external data like any custom object. You use clicks, there is no need for code, which makes it extremely easy for use. So how we make it happen? On the Salesforce Connect side, we actually use adapters. And there are different adapters for the different use cases you may have. So for the example I used earlier, if you have data in SAP or an ERP system in general, the go-to connector will be, will be OData. But we've also invested a lot in Amazon, so we have DynamoDB and RDS. Separately, what we're going to look at later is if you have a data lake, like Snowflake, the best adapter will be SQL, and you will see that in the demo. Of course, some of you may want to build their own custom adapter for connecting to a specific REST API. You absolutely can do that. And last but not least, you have the cross-org adapter. So that's for the cases where you want to connect one Salesforce org to another. But keep a note that if it's a very complex integration between the orgs or a more sophisticated use case, we do recommend you look at Data Cloud or MuleSoft for that specific scenario. So step one was to get the external data into Salesforce. We did that. Now, step two is Prompt Builder, or how can we use this external data and feed it into Agentforce and use it in Prompt Builder. So with Prompt Builder, we make AI more reliable. First, we ground it into trusted data, so the outputs have the required customer context. Second, we let you customize the instructions and the tone. And third, but not last, we embed these prompts into workflows, so there is no context switching. And to make it more reliable, we need to really speak your end user language or the customer language. And in order to do so, what we do is we ground your prompts in CRM data, in your CRM fields, in your flow and Apex. But most importantly for today, we ground them within your external data sources. And with that, when AI runs, it has the full business context at runtime, the bigger picture. So now I'm going to move to a demo, but before we jump in, I just want to set the scenario. Today, I'll be stepping into the shoes of a service agent that works for Gourmet Provisions, which is a B2B food company. We have, unfortunately, a customer who's reached out because their order of black truffles has been delayed. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a few things to help the customer. But the interesting part for you guys is the fact that the data, the order details, don't live in Salesforce. They're actually in Snowflake. But the good news is my service agent doesn't care about that because he can access them from within Salesforce, and you see how we're going to do that. And last but not least, we're going to help the customer by utilizing Prompt Builder and Agentforce to draft an apology email. So now I'm going to hope that my demo works, or meaning my Wi-Fi works, and I'll jump into my case. So currently you can see I'm on a case for a delayed shipment of black truffles. You can see the order details, and I'm the service agent, and I need to help this customer. The first thing I notice is that the shipping speed is standard. So obviously, if I have a delayed order, I don't want to stay with that speed. I need to expedite the order. But also, just for context switching, the real data lives in Snowflake, and you can see it here. This is where the origin of the data is. However, me as a customer agent, I don't care about that. So I'm going back, and I'm actually going to open the order itself. So again, I'm still in Salesforce. The only difference you probably may notice is if I bring your attention to the URL here at the top, you're going to see the name of the object. It ends with an X. This signifies that this object is an external object. And now I'm going to proceed, and I'm going to update my shipping speed from standard to expedite and save. Of course, Salesforce will save this, and I'm going to jump into Snowflake and rerun the same query. So hit run, and right away, if you go down and you can look at the shipping speed, you can see I've successfully made a change from within Salesforce. I didn't have to leave. The only reason I have Snowflake open is just to show you how easy it is. Okay, so we've done part of the resolution for this case for the customer, but now I need to apologize for the customer and remediate the situation. So I'm going to open Agentforce, and I'm going to ask Agentforce to draft me an apology email. So Agentforce will analyze the request, process my intent, and will work on crafting a specific response for this customer. So when I expand, you can see the email. We are apologizing on behalf of Gourmet Provisions, but also, most importantly, we tell the customer that we have expedited their order. We are also offering a $50 voucher as thank you, or excuse me for the delay. From here, I can also send the email, and if, for example, some of the email content is not where I want it to be, or I want to add a personal touch, I can edit the email right here, or I can just send as it is. So that is pretty impressive. Agentforce was really helpful with a very specific response. So let's talk about how did I achieve that? Well, first, to make it possible for my service agent to work with the order details in Snowflake, I have connected Snowflake to my Salesforce. So it's an external data source, and I've basically connected it. I've used name credential. You can see I've already created in earlier, so we don't have to spend all of this time. But essentially, name credential allows my agent not to handle raw credentials. So it's on the security side, so I've done all of the hard work for you. Now, if I go to validate and sync, I just want to show you that we've successfully connected my Gourmet external orders from Snowflake and synced it into an external object in Salesforce. And if I go back, I will also show you that we generate an external object called order details in Salesforce, and it behaves like a custom object. So you can do the same things. The only difference, again, is you see the X at the end, which signifies the fact this is an external object. So pretty cool stuff. So that's part of the journey. We've connected our external data source. We now need to add it to Prompt Builder. So if I jump into my Prompt Builder page, if we were to start from the beginning, for today's purpose, I've already created a template, but I just want to run you quickly through it. You select your template type. Usually, Flex is the best, in my opinion, because obviously it's flexible. You can give it a name. And then add the required description. You have the option to add up to 5 inputs. In our case, what we did beforehand is we added the case object. The reason I added the case is because the case already links to the order details. I don't need to separately add the order details. So now I'm going to jump into my existing prompt template that I've created beforehand for the sake of time. And what you notice is on the left-hand side for the inputs, I've selected a case. So I'm grounding it with the required context of this specific customer. On the right, in prompt, you see that I'm actually drafting what I want from this template, and I'm also providing the required context by merging fields from the case, but also I'm adding fields from the case record, from the order details page. And if I was to show you how this works is if you click on Insert Resource, you can see what's available to you. You can go to your case record, and from there, you can scroll all the way down to the order details, which is essentially the external object. So it's amazing because you can bring it in directly into Prompt Builder. There was no need to set up Snowflake in here. You've done it already through Salesforce Connect. So once you've done that, on the second pane, you see the resolve prompt. Or this is basically the email that we're drafting based on the data that is coming from both the case, which is within Salesforce, but also is coming from my Snowflake. And last but not least, you have the actual final generated response. I just wanted to scroll here to show you that we are bringing the external object information together with all of the values that are stored in Snowflake, including what type of order it is, what is the speed, etc. And now, to finish the whole end-to-end process for your users, we're going to go to Agentforce. So beforehand, I've created an agent that is called the Gourmet agent that is meant to help me resolve issues on case basis. So as part of that agent, I've also created a sub-agent that deals with any case issues. And most importantly, I've created an action that is called the Gourmet Delay Resolution Flex. That action is coming directly from Prompt Builder. And simply, in a natural language, I'm telling the agent to use this tool when a user is asked to draft a resolution or an apology email for a delayed Gourmet order. And I tell the agent what exactly needs to happen. There's not much more that is required in that regard, and the agent will handle the rest of it. So this is how, just in a few minutes, you can use the power of Salesforce Connect and its adapters, like in our case, it was an SQL adapter for Snowflake, to connect it to Prompt Builder and from there into Agentforce to help your customers. So I'm going to jump back into my slides quickly. And for many of you, there might be a question, okay, But there are a few other solutions that may do similar things. How do I know which one to use when I have maybe data in Snowflake and I want to work with it in Salesforce? So the answer is very simple. If at any point you need to interact with the data, not just on a read-only basis, but you want to edit and make changes, update it, you use Salesforce Connect, because that is the only tool that gives you this virtual access and the edit option. So there are other use cases, like if you want unified customer profiles, large-scale data feeding, and just analyzing, Data Cloud. For MuleSoft, for large integration, that is the perfect tool. But also for any analytics, etc., even though you can report on external objects, obviously, if you want to do it on a larger scale, we recommend Tableau and CRM. So what's next in terms of the roadmap? Well, for summer 26, we are looking to modernize our cross-org adapter. And we're doing that by enabling you to use name credentials. So name credentials, please keep in mind, look out for the release notes that they will indicate how you can transition into the use of name credentials for added security. Then we are looking to customize in winter 27 the standard adapter behavior. We heard a lot of feedback that many of you like the existing adapters, but they wish to make some little changes maybe to them. So we will allow you to do those little changes in Apex. And then moving forward, we are looking into also adding compatibility with BigQuery, Amazon Redshift, and Databricks, and also some GraphQL. So here is a QR code of our resources. So take a picture, check it out, because here you can get a link to our community group where if you have any follow-up questions, because we are really short on time, you can feel free to post anything in there and get the answers that you need from the right person. And big thank you again for being here. I know there were some technical difficulties earlier. We managed to catch up on time. Coffee is on us. Feel free to fill the survey forum and share your feedback about the session. Thank you so much again.